Good morning, everyone. My name is Susan Schatzer, and I am here live with Maria F. Lariva. And today we are getting ready to talk about her brand new book and launch this new book with all of you. And the title is very near and dear to me. Maria and I have been friends for quite some time. We're authors together. We're consciousness revolutionaries together. And the dynamic aspect of our connection is really with our kids. So we're going to tell you today a little bit about our connection with our kids, what we're doing today to share with you. You're going to get to meet Maria. We're going to talk to 5 or 6 different guest speakers we have today that are going to contribute to this Google Hangout. Maria has free gifts that she's going to be giving away, and we're so excited that you're here to join us. So Maria, tell me a little bit about who you are and share yourself with the rest of your audience.
Well, you know my name already, of course. This book was I laid down last night and saying, how can I introduce myself? And I could introduce myself, but I want so much to speak about the book. I began as a transformational life coach, and then it took me some time to. It didn't take me some time. I got pregnant, and then I lost a baby, and I went through some hard times. And then I got pregnant again, and while I was pregnant, about 2-3 months, I was laying down on the Floridian Hotel at Disney, and I was just saying, okay, what am I gonna do? I have a baby now, and then I start thinking about everything I went through, and I started getting all these ideas of, you know, what was going on, you know, why my baby wasn't coming, what was going on, you know, in another dimension or in heaven. Why is it that it took some time to come? Why is it that it wanted to come and then it left and then it came again, and then I had a miscarriage again, and then I started getting the ideas of writing a book. So I started writing. I took just a piece of paper that I found in the reception of the hotel and a pencil, and I start writing small ideas and what would my daughter be thinking, or what was going on in her little head while she was trying to come, and that's how the book was born, actually.
Amazing. So you were just laying on the floor, connecting with her, talking with her, and she gave you different ideas on creating this book. So where did it go from that point to kind of where we are today? Have you always been an author?
Well, no, I have never been an author. Actually, I wasn't very good in English or in language. But you know what? When you're meant to be something, it doesn't matter what you study, what you wear, how you are. When you love something, you just go ahead and do it, and it comes out great. So this is for most of the people that, you know, are trying to do something and they think they have to get a degree, and they go through college, and they give so much importance to studies, and in reality, when you really love something, it's just like born from inside of you. You have it inside already.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I know when I interview and talk with a lot of other people, when they just feel called. Did you sort of feel called to bring this book here and get it to the planet, and that it would, you know, gift and contribute to other people maybe who are going through or have gone through or know someone who's going through some of the things that you went through?
Definitely, because it was so amazing. Everything was so amazing and so beautiful, and of course I put some fiction in it that could be called fiction, but it's really in my heart what I thought that was happening. So what brought me here to this point was how many mothers, and how I suffered at the beginning with my 3 losses, and if I would have read a book like that, it would have brought me so much peace, and it would have brought me like an understanding of what was going on. And probably, you know, I would have read a book like this one, I would have taken a completely other different path.
Really?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit, because this is not your first book, but it's built off of your first book. Would you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. So I was going through a really hard time. It was kind of like usual in my life to go through really hard times. I just picked to make it hard so I could show myself that I could get out of it. So it's something I had, thank God, not anymore. But I went, somebody introduced me to Access Consciousness, which opened up my mind to questions, which I know everybody knows and everybody have heard in the, you know, from the Bible and everywhere, even if you're not Christian, everybody knows about ask and you shall receive. And that just caught so much my attention, and I was so dedicated to make my life better that that with asking the questions, I made like a whole section, actually many sections in that first book, which is Ask and You Shall Receive and This Time You Will, about every part of my life. And I asked questions, just asking for the awareness and for the shift in the universe and with the quantum entanglements, so my life would start changing. And once my life started changing, and I began to be the whole person that I was supposed to be and that I came here to be, then I remembered that the book, Mommy, Why Do You Want Me, was hidden in the bottom of a drawer. And I've written probably, I think it was about 6 chapters only. And so with that strength and feeling, you know, feeling whole and feeling powerful and feeling the beauty of everything around me, I took that book and I said, you know what, this was such a good book, and it made me cry when I was writing it. And I remember those moments, and I said, oh my God, I need to finish this book. So actually, my first book pushed me to finish up my really first book, which was Mommy, Why Do You Want Me? But I ended up finishing up afterwards, after my second book. So that's how my first book pushed me to do my second book, which is so funny. It was really my first book. And you know what, Susan? I want to tell you that Erica Glessing is also with us. I'm seeing her little picture here, and she's my wonderful publisher from Happy Publishing, and I'm so thankful to her. So there she is.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I'd say hi before I have to get my kids up in about 6 minutes, so I thought I'd pop on and just say good morning. And it's a little earlier in California, so good luck with your book launch. And I'm just in your corner and encourage people to find out about this book and read it, and just kind of, you know, I wrote in my message today, horses, angels.
That's right.
Magic, and then like, what else could be better than that? Like, oh my gosh, I just love this book. So I just encourage people to go get a copy of the book and then share it with friends. And Maria, I'm just overjoyed that you finished the book. You know, people have books on their hard drive and nobody can read them or be nourished by them. And then they sit there and they're so curious about what they could do in the world. And if they're just sitting on the hard drive, they're not doing very much in the world. So congratulations for having the courage. Your book. Yay!
Thank you, Erica. Thank you for stopping by. I know you have such a busy schedule, but come back. We'll be here till 12.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Beautiful. So that was great. In fact, when I talked with Erica about your book, Maria, knowing that today was the launch day, she literally said when she got the manuscript in her hands, she couldn't put it down. She had to read it all the way through. the characters you had in there, you know, the challenges they were going through, you know, how they were overcoming it. You did like an amazing job with just painting this incredible picture, and it's real life. Like, people can really identify with the characters and what's happening and what's transpiring and how she gets from, you know, where she is to where she would like to be. And Erica said she couldn't put the book down. She ended up staying up way too late that night just to finish the whole thing. So I wanted to let everybody else know that it's a very easy read. It's something you may not be able to put down. You may be able to read the whole thing all in one time. And I wanted to hold the book up. So here is the book cover of what it looks like. Mommy, Why Do You Want Me? And tell us about this beautiful person right here. Who is that, Maria?
Well, that one is actually my daughter. It's my daughter, Alexandra. She was the inspiration, and it's funny because Erica said to me, I am seeing a picture that you have on your hard drive, and you got to send that to me. So I sent pictures of me, and I said, I know these are not, it doesn't feel right. And then suddenly that one popped up, and I said, oh my God, this is the book that this is the picture that she's talking about. So yeah, she was my inspiration. So she deserves to be in front of the book. Yeah.
That is
so, yeah. So Susan, I wanted to tell you something too about the book, and to empower all those moms that are wanting to get pregnant. And I can empower the three kinds: the wanting to get pregnant, the ones that are pregnant, and the ones that already have babies. But let's start with the ones that want to get pregnant. There is a line that truly believes that, they're little angels, that they're coming to earth. So if we go through the logic of what are angels, and everybody prays for the angels, they pray for them to help them, and to help them go through everything. So, we usually call angels when we are in awe, when we need help. So they're pretty powerful people. And at the same time, like almost everybody in the planet talks about the baby as being a little angel. And then I combine those two, and I say, okay, they are angels, and they're little when they come in their bodies, but they're actually a huge being inside. And if they're such a huge being, and they're so powerful because everybody calls them, when you need help, then how much power can they have to either come to your family and to this mother and father and siblings? And how much power can they have there? So if we take all those ideas that I just told you, they must be pretty powerful, and they must be picking, because you can't imagine that just an angel just coming by. Oh, I'm just going to be born here. Oh, I popped up in China. I popped up in Orlando, Florida. No, I think they do really, and I do believe they do really pick their parents because of that, because they are such powerful beings. What do you think?
Well, it's interesting because with my son, and I can only speak from my experience, personal experience, and then also the experience that I have with other moms that I work with, and it's really incredible and interesting when we ask our kids about the mom and the dad. And sometimes like in my situation, my son picked both of us, and at that time didn't knew, but now he's older, like he's 13 now, and even when he was younger, I would ask him, so like, why are you my son? Like anyone in the world, of anyone in the universe, why are you my son? And he's just has this awareness. He's like, because Mom, he said, I knew you would push me to be everything that I'm here to do and not let me slack off. And I was like, really? At like 9 or 10 years old, like that's the answer he comes up with. when I was 9 or 10, my answer would have been, you know, because I love you, you know, because you're the best mom. You know, I had no idea, but, you know, I have found that, you know, our kids are sort of more aware than we are. And we're more aware than our parents were. And so I found that with that has brought a lot of strength for us versus, you know, you're supposed to, you have to, you should, you must, you know, what are the neighbors going to say? Was all the dynamics that kind of revolved around my childhood versus now we do a lot more questioning. You know, and with that, it empowers the children. And just like it empowers us, and I know your first book, Maria, has like hundreds of questions in it. And what if that's what was required to give you, you know, the momentum, the courage, the confidence, the strength, and the, I don't know what you would call, like the...
It is momentum.
Okay, momentum. To create the second book. Yeah. So, so what if we all just asked our kids like randomly, you know, off the cuff, so, hey, you know, why am I your mom? You know, why did you pick us?
That'd be really cool. That'd be really cool to hear. You know, I put myself in the moms that might be watching this and that are watching this. And I think, just think about it. It's really cool to listen to the answers. And I would love you to go to my Facebook and post the answers.
Yeah, we activated the live chat right here on Google. So anyone who is here can go ahead and group chat with us. And I believe that's not open just to us guest speakers on this end, but I believe it's open to everyone else.
Yeah, it's supposed to be open to everyone else.
All right. So if you're on and you kind of have the opportunity to ask your children, or maybe if you have the awareness now with that question as to why you picked your parents, we would love to hear about it in the chat room. And we promise we won't share it unless we have your permission, or we won't say your name or where you're from. Right. But yeah, it's really interesting as to, you know, what our children show up with, and the dynamics of, you know, their awareness level versus us, you know, when we were growing up. So I know,
yeah.
profound.
So yeah, so going back, I thought I finished, but I just had another idea for the mothers to be. So what if, you know, the reason that you want a baby is not really coinciding with why your baby wants to come here, you know, and sometimes once they coincide, then pop, the baby's here. I think that's what happened to me. Once I was, you know, I was sane in mind and feeling much better, then that's when I became pregnant. And the other thing was the mothers that are pregnant. You know, what was the reason why, you know, why you're having the baby? You know, it's like they're little angels. They're like listening to us. You know, they have a heartbeat, and so they are beings already. And I know that it's so funny. I used to put some baroque music to Alexandra for her to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And when she was like 5 years old, I took her to a concert. Well, actually a symphony, not a concert. Concert is in Spanish, a symphony. And they were playing one of those songs, and Alexandra suddenly lay down on my lap and says, "Mom, I'm so sleepy." And I connected both ends, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the music that I used to put to Alexandra for her to relax and go to sleep. And so if a child can hear that and can remember that and has like a psychological reaction when they listen to music, so imagine when they listen your thoughts, when they listen what you say to other people while you're having a baby. And since I already said they're so powerful, they're not just tiny little things that have no idea what's going on. They are angels, so they're powerful. They're like, oh, no, wait a minute, I'm not going there yet.
Yeah, there was a research study done with the Dr. Seuss books. And they had moms who were pregnant read a specific Dr. Seuss book to the children while they were in utero, you know, once a day, a couple times a week. And then when the babies were born and they came out, they were researching and watching and documenting the response that the children had when the mom or the dad or both were reading the book again. And it was incredible, the response that the babies had, not that they understood and were that, you know, they were like giving answers kind of a thing, but that they were, with body expressions and facial features and movements, were actually acknowledging the book. And it was so significant that that study's gone on to do some more research. But it really does, you know, pose us with the question, like, you know, what else is possible here with communicating with our children that's beyond what this reality says is true, right, real, and relevant? You know, what if there's more than just, I know here we put headsets on our tummies now, and we can play music for them, and we read to them, and we talk to them. But what if there really is, Maria, the possibility of connecting and communicating with our babies before we're even pregnant? And I know you talked about that in your book. So would you share a little bit about that?
Well, if I share, then I'll tell the book.
Okay, you may not want to go there, but just a little snippet, just a little piece.
Well, it was really not so much talking, but it was actually a question. A question that certain question that was answered that triggered the whole shift in the little angel and the mother's life. So it was mostly not a conversation, but it was just a question.
Cool.
And that triggered it. Yeah.
Nice.
So we should have Petrina coming in, and she's kind of like having, she's not seeing, Susan, did you receive an email from whom? From Google?
Let me check that out. Yes, from Google Hangouts. I can forward it to her.
Oh, go ahead and forward it to her then.
Okay. Do you have her email address?
Yes, it's Petrine, but without the A, @gmail.com.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about Petrina while we get her on the line with us.
Well, Petrina went through really hard times. Same thing. It was like it looks really like my story. She lost a baby, but she was very angry with herself, and actually was with her body. But we never put our bodies as a separate being. But she was really angry at her body for not being able to create the baby, even though she had had two before. And then she was like angry towards her body, like saying, hey, if you've done this before and you did it very well, how come you're not doing it now? She really wanted that boy. So so she started the same thing. She started asking questions and honoring the body. And I just really want her to come here. She says that she's seeing me. Did you email her? I'll tell her that you email it to her.
Yep, I did.
Susan. Okay, she'll soon be here. Is that she explains it so well. Of course, it's her own life. And she goes into so much details of what she was going through, which mine, since it's a novel and I wanted to go through beautiful and, you know, even though it has some hard and harsh moments that Betty was going through, I didn't go so much into details because I wanted really to say so much about, in general, what you could do, what you could think, So that's why in my book I didn't go in so much detail of, you know, my pain and my sorrow and all that, but Petrina did in one of the books that she wrote. And it was through the same thing. It was through, we used tools from Access Consciousness, and that I'm so grateful to them for that. So that's it shifts. Once you ask questions, it's like you usually require an answer, but sometimes it's an awareness. Like for Petrina and for her, it was, oh my God, I'm not honoring my body. And for me, it was, oh my God, I'm not happy in my life. So, you know, bringing a child in my life that was so unhappy, it was going to be terrible. I see it now that it was not the right time. And when finally I was balanced and a little bit more balanced is when, you know, when everything happened and things shifted and I had the baby, I got pregnant. And, okay, so we have Petrina, then we're going to have Sylvia Puentes also coming. And, okay.
Sarah Litch. Sarah Litch is a horse whisperer.
Sarah Litch. And, oh yeah, she's a horse whisperer because, oh my God, it also has a horse in it. That the horse completely, not completely, but it does help, and it turns around, and it's just such a nice thing. When I wrote the book, I actually lived every second that I was writing. Like I could imagine myself doing every single thing that I wrote, which in a way I did, but it wasn't exactly for the same reason, but I did, and it did help. So so that's good for the horse people. The horses are unbelievable, and they do know that. They know that. Let me go and check on something here. Susan, I give you the word.
You'd like for me to continue?
Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm trying to figure out where Petrina is and all of those.
Okay, Petrina would like us to send it. It is Petrina with an A.
Oh, what she sent me was without an A. Then she corrected it.
Yeah, she said send it to her with an A.
Okay.
Cool. So Petrina and I are co-authors in another of Erica Glessing's book. Erica Glessing is the publisher, and she owns Happy Publishing. And Petrina and I have different experiences with pregnancy and birthing, and I believe there's about 12, maybe 14 authors. And in the book, we share our experiences, and we talk about amongst with the other authors in that book. It's called Creations, Conscious, Fertility and Conception, Pregnancy and Birth. And a lot of us have had, experiences anywhere from, fertility difficulties, which was in my case, conception difficulties, or ease with fertility and conception, but difficulty with carrying pregnancies. And lots of different people have choices, and the authors speak to.
Sorry.
The authors.
Sorry.
The authors speak to the different choices that they made, the experiences, the awarenesses that they received. And the book that Maria has created that's launching today, Mommy, Why Do You Want Me?, can be picked up at Amazon.com. And what I loved about it was if you got 2 books, one for myself and one for a gift, then I got free shipping. So that's what I did. I got 2 copies this morning, and I can't wait for them to get here. And I'm going to be keeping one for myself, and I'm going to be giving one away as well. The nice part about it is I'm going to keep mine and pass it down to, or I can get more after that actually, pass it down to my son. Because, you know, knowing Maria personally and growing up with Alexandra, it's just, you know, such a gift and a contribution in and of itself, because, you know, he can relate to her and to Maria and to all these different aspects of these characters in her book. And I know when I met Betty, Betty is the woman, the mom in her book, I could identify right away with her because she's a workaholic, loves to work, loves her home, loves where she lives, loves her husband. And so, you know, Maria, tell us a little bit about the characters and how you developed them in the book while we're waiting for Patrina to jump on.
Well, Betty is, as Susan said, she's the main character, and she's, you know, a young woman, but she takes everything she does, she takes it very seriously. So when the first time she became pregnant, she was like so into making everything perfect. Like she had books that had to do with psychology and the fetus. She had books of spiritual books about what children were before, you know, and how do they decide to come to Earth. Oh my God, I'm like almost sneezing. My goodness. She has all the theory pregnancy books, first month, second month, and all that. And she had that spread all over her house. And the other character is her husband, which is an extremely loving husband, and, you know, would do anything for her. And he's great. And he is, and the good thing is that he is open to anything. And even though he's very, I would say, mathematical and another workaholic too, he would also take some time, and he would have some kind of light, and knowing that there was something else other than just, you know, this reality and work and you know, family and have children. He is pretty open to that. And then she has friends. She has some friends that Betty has some friends that really good friends that guided her through her storm, and kind of like put an umbrella under her and pushed her in so she wouldn't keep on getting wet. And then there is let me see what else. Well, then there is a little angel. Then there is a whole crew in heaven that would just make your heart melt. And let's see, what else can I say? Let's see. Yeah, that's about it. I just don't want to talk too much, because then I talk too much and then I end up telling the story, and it's so cool. It's a short book. I'm pretty straightforward when I write. It does have, you know, little flowers around, and it's pretty. It's a pretty book, but I don't over exaggerate with the flowering around. I go pretty straightforward because my goal was to write something that was beautiful, easygoing, easy reading, fast, but at the same time will give you tools and would open a different window of possibilities to whomever reads it. So that's what that's how the book was born in my heart before it could even be born on paper. Yeah. So
how did you pick the names for your characters?
Oh, I actually asked questions. I said, okay, there's a character that's going to be a friend. I say, okay, what would be the name that this character would like to have? And then actually, really, the first thing that popped into my mind, that was the name. That was the name that I put in them. Because the first thought is your heart thought, your spiritual thought that many people would say, "Hey, Katrina is here. Hi."
Hey.
I can't hear you. Oh, you have to, can you hear her, Susan?
No.
Okay, up, there is a microphone. Can you click on the microphone up so we could hear you? Oh my God, I finally came, that sneeze. Oh, but we cannot hear you, Katrina. Do you see her, Susan?
Let me see. I have a bunch of different windows open. I can see her.
Okay, let me see what, okay, Katrina, talk to see if I can hear you. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Why does it say in the bottom that it has no microphone? Or let me see. Profile. What would be eject? Oh, that is not nice. Oh, Susan disappeared too. Okay, I'm by myself. Well, I'm gonna have to talk for Katrina. Okay. Oh, you're gonna use the cell. Okay, Katrina, since you're listening to me, so I began your story that that you were having so much trouble and all that, and then you were really angry at at the whole world about it, and then at the end you figure out that you were you had something with your body that you needed to fix, not to fix but to deal with. And then when you perceived that it was your body, then you became angry at your body. Yeah. So yeah, that's her saying that's right. And okay.
She's
And
my writing.
yeah, she's actually trying to get in her phone. And I'm trying to do the questions, but the questions are not ask your audience to submit questions, but where do I ask that? Let me see. And so so Katrina started asking questions of what is it, honoring her body, what is it that it would like. And that's where she began the shift in her life. And I so want you to keep on going with this story, Katrina. Let's see. Can't believe the questions are not popping out. Submit questions. So, audience, if you would like to submit any questions, go ahead and write them. And I try to see here. Oh, there is one question. Oh, here. Oh, it's Susan. Okay, I got it here. You can ask any question.
So I wonder if Sylvia can, because she's coming on also. So Katrina, can you hear us?
Yeah, she can.
Oh, she can hear us. But we can't hear her. Yeah.
Yeah, she heard me, but I don't know, somehow she's not. And it's, let me see. Let me see if I go again. Oh, Patrina, I sent you a new invitation just to see what happened, because your story is pretty amazing too. She had also a brother that was into spirituality, and her brother is the one that introduced her to that. And I'm being your voice, Patrina. And I'm actually, oh my God, when I read that part of her brother, I said, how lucky can she be? But I do have a wonderful sister too, but she just listens to what I say and she does it like if it was like a recipe, everything she says, and she does shifts her life too. But Petrina also had a wonderful brother that is the one that introduced her to Access and to the questions and shifting her life with questions. Petrina, did you get the email? Okay, so maybe get out of this one, just turn it off.
She may have to turn on her microphone on her computer.
Yeah.
Or the microphone on the Google Hangout. You know how you can turn off video and turn on microphone?
Yeah, on the top of it. You can do that on top of it. If you put the cursor on the top part of the video, like on the top of my head, then you see video and you see microphone. Yeah, probably if you get out of this one, just turn the Google Hangout off and then try to get in the other one. But anyways, yeah, Sylvia is our next guest, and she wrote a book. Okay, she's there.
Oh, okay, not now. Oh, here we go.
Yes!
Hold on, let me turn off my. Can you see me?
I can see your kitchen.
You can see my kitchen?
Definitely. Your table. There you go.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Okay, I'm on my phone, so not sure what the sound quality is like, but I'm here.
Sound is great, and you look great too, so it's all right.
Okay, thanks for having me, and congratulations on your book.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Petrina. So, do you want to introduce yourself? How did you begin with everything, and who you are?
Yes, sure. I am Petrina, and I do lots of different things, and I am lots of different things. So, let's start with I am an Access Consciousness Bars and Body Process Facilitator. I am also a registered nurse. I work at a pediatric hospital here in Toronto. I also teach nursing. I'm a mom of 3. I have a lot of different things that I like to have my hands in.
Yay, you got your third one.
What's that?
You got your third child.
I have 3. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So you know what? Knowing that our thoughts create our reality, because I know that you are so much into that, and we are all into that. That our thoughts create our reality. What do you think the consequences would be when you when you start Googling all the sicknesses that you have and the infertility that you have? What can you tell us something about it? What happened in our universe when you start looking at how terrible your body is and how to the maximum your fertility is, or to the lowest level?
Yeah, I can talk a lot about that. So, 2 things. So for me, I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for 18 years. So in addition to being a mom and a woman who's generally concerned with, her own fertility and her health and all that stuff, I also had the added bonus of crazy nurse brain with all my, training as a nurse and all the things that I learned about what was possible and what was not possible with bodies, right? And not only do I see it with other people, but I completely did it with myself, especially when I was trying to conceive my son, my 3rd child, after I had a miscarriage. And I almost kind of knew not to go to Google, and just almost felt so drawn to it at the same time. But it's all just a bunch of information that is not necessarily real, and what it does is put a lot of crap in our heads, and none of it is a question, and none of it is about what else is possible. And then if your point of view creates your reality, and your point of view is, after you have a miscarriage, it's harder to get pregnant. After you have a D&C, your uterus is, now is different, and, this much percentage of women after miscarriage do not have this much success. None of that is questioned, and it's all a conclusion that then you take on, and that's what ends up showing up in your reality oftentimes. So yeah, in my perspective, it's not helpful to do that at all. It's actually almost like going backwards, because what it does is puts up a whole bunch of walls and puts up a whole bunch of limitations, and you have a whole bunch of conclusions about what can't happen. And that's not the space of creation, right? The space of creation is what else is possible, and what can I create beyond what this reality is saying I can.
Yeah, Petrina, it's so similar. Your story is so similar to mine, and I could hear the doctors tell me, you know what? There is no way that you can that you can naturally get pregnant. You need hormones. You need the climate. You need this. You need that. And it's like the doctors were saying that, but I was so spiritual at that time. It was like in my head, it was not computing, not computing, not computing. That, what the doctors are saying, I cannot believe it. I cannot accept it. And that's, but at the same time, I was going through, some personal growth, and that is why, I ended up getting pregnant. When I did the personal growth, when I grew enough to be able to be sane and have a baby and be happy about it, that's when I really became pregnant. And it went against all the odds. It went against everything that every single doctor said to me. And I went to the top fertility doctors in Palm Beach, in Boca Raton, and that's a big place. And so when I just didn't compute what all the doctors said to me, I said, you know what, maybe I'm going to have to do all that, but it's not what I really want to do. It was like, I don't want to go through all that. I don't want to have to bring my child through, doing so many different things from outside. It was kind of like if I had a knowing inside of me, everything can be so easy if you're more relaxed. Everything can be so easy if you believe that you can have a child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think what I noticed, what I really got when I look back at what I was doing at the time that I was having a miscarriage, is that I was really almost rejecting and resisting what was happening in the hospital and what the doctors were telling me, and that wasn't helpful either. So, I had also just kind of begun looking at some, like I had learned Reiki, and I was just beginning to look at this idea about, how your thoughts create your reality and all of that. And so, but I swung all the way to the other side, and I went, I don't want to do this. I don't want to have a D&C after the miscarriage. I don't want to have a blood transfusion. I was actually resisting it. And that wasn't creating anything for me either. And all it was creating actually was judgment of myself, because now there was one more thing I was getting wrong. And now that I have these tools, I can look at what's going to create greater. Would a blood transfusion create greater for my body? Yeah, it might have, because I would have felt better, because I felt like total crap for the next 2 weeks. Would having a D&C actually create greater? Who says it's not going to? Maybe that's what my body desired. But I was rejecting it, and I was resisting it, and I had the conclusion that that wasn't the way I wanted to do it. And that's not the same as asking your body what's going to create the greatest ease for everyone here. Me, you, the being that's trying to leave, the being that wants to come in, I wasn't asking any of those questions. And you know, what would it take to a consciousness includes everything and judges nothing. So it includes medical treatment. It includes body processes. It includes your thoughts. It includes being still, being relaxed. It includes question like it includes everything. It's so important to just not be in the space of conclusion at all, and being an allowance of everything and seeing how everything can contribute if you just ask questions about what those things are. I was in so much resistance to medical treatment, and it didn't work in my favor. It created a lot of disease and stress over those few days.
Yeah, and it's how conclusion can limit us, can just enclose us in a box, and not let us, be aware of what our body needs, and be kind to ourselves and to our bodies. Conclusion just closes everything. Instead, when you ask a question, you just open up all the possibilities, and not only ask questions like to God, the universe, but ask questions to yourself, to your body. Is this what you really want? And be kind to yourself and your body. Yeah. So let me. I was talking before you came in. I was talking about my first book, which is called Ask and You Shall Receive, and This Time You Will. And I have the book is divided into sections of parenting, personal health, and love, money, and they have all those questions in it. And so I'm a lot into questions. Like I'm the question lady, within the people that know me in Access. It's like that book became. It's like it sells every day. So I look it up, and it's like a must. In Access, you take the bars class, you buy Maria's book. It's so funny. It made itself like that. I noticed it not too long ago. I said, what are you doing, book? And he says, no, I'm making myself one of the must after Access bars. You must buy my book. So I know how questions are important, and I know how questions can open up a humongous, amount of possibilities, and move the quantum entanglement for everything and the universe to work on your favor. What were some of the questions that you asked before you became pregnant?
So some of the questions that I started. So what I first did actually was come out of anger and betrayal with my body and went into a space of gratitude. And then I started to ask some questions. I actually asked my body if it wanted to have another baby, because I had already decided that that's what I was doing, and I was not including my body. So I started to ask questions like, hey body, I would really like to have another baby, how about you? And then I was getting that it was light and it was exciting, and it was exciting when I asked that question, like that lightness. And so then I started to ask, okay, so how can we create this together? What do you require? What kind of foods do you require? What kind of exercise do you require? I was just asking whatever questions I could think of.
And then the answer would come like an awareness, like suddenly you would want a melon, and then you go and eat a melon. Suddenly you would desire to go and...
This was very new for me. My brother had literally just introduced me to the tools of Access right after I had had my miscarriage. So the whole idea of asking and then waiting for an awareness was really weird for me in the beginning, especially with my nursing background. I mean, we're all about answers, right? Like this idea of asking questions and then not looking at the answer, I would really struggle with it. So I was just pulling stuff out of my pocket to not say something. I was just like reaching for whatever questions I had. And so I was really just using the, what else is possible? How does it get better than this? What else is possible? How does it get better than this? Okay, what else is possible? How can we create this body? What do you require? What can I be for you? I was really asking the most basic questions that you learn in Access, because that's really what I had at my disposal.
And they're actually the main ones. They're the most powerful ones, actually.
Exactly. But part of the biggest change, I think, was that I was in a space of gratitude for my body, and I was also reaching um, I was aware of the energy of the being that wanted to come. That was easy for me. I could really perceive him. And so I started to actually kind of connect with him as well and be like, hey, baby, like, I would love to have you. So whenever, however you would like to show up, I mean, I would like it to be soon. And it would be really cool if you were a boy because I would love to have that energy. And I let the baby know that he had choice and that I was willing to be and do whatever he required. So it was really this like this dance between me, my body, my baby, me, my body, my baby.
That is
and
great.
and giving him choice, like giving the being choice, I think was really important for me too. It was like, hey, look, please get this. I would love to have you in my life, and you have choice. And I played with that.
Well, Katrina, thank you so much. I know you have to go. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
I love your story. Thank you for being with me and sharing here.
Congratulations, Maria, and good luck with your book.
Thank you, thank you. So we have here, we have Sylvia Puentes.
Hello. Thank you for the beautiful invitation and congratulations on this beautiful book.
So welcome. You also have a book out last week, wasn't it?
Not last week. I've had there's been a couple books that I've had out. The Energy of Expansion and The Energy of Healing that I've co-authored. But yes, so two wonderful, wonderful books.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
A little about myself. I like Katrina. I really like how she introduced herself. I do many things. I'm a certified access facilitator. I was a classroom teacher and now am one of the teachers for the Access Possibility School. And I also am a learning and development manager for an incredible wine company out here in Sonoma County. So one of the things that I really enjoy is working with people, being with people, empowering people, and it takes a form in many different ways, and it's with people of all ages. So it's really in all areas of my life. So how does it get any better than that? And so along with writing books, teleseries that I do in English and in Spanish, I really do enjoy living a very, very full life.
Great. So what is your thought of babies and coming to Earth and children's when they're growing? What is it that are your thoughts about it?
So it's interesting. As you know, this topic came up in this Google Hangout. I had a total of 3 miscarriages, and I do have a son who is now 17. And so I was kind of looking at that, going, "Wow, what could I share out of that experience?" And one of them is being brutally honest with yourself if it is truly a child you would like to have. Because I think we buy so many points of view culturally. You know, I'm Mexicana. Both my parents are from Mexico. And culturally, it was like, that's a must. Like, you're a woman, you must have a child. Well, yes. And so after I had my first one, they're like, when's your next one? I'm all like, I'm not having one. And people wouldn't even ask any questions. They would be, I know a curandera. There's a healer I know. Let me give you the remedy. And it was like, no, actually, it's by choice. But for a while, I didn't know it was my choice. So that piece of, you know, culturally or just family-wise, so many things that are impelled at us about having children, that really that space is like, wow, do I really desire a child? And then if you do, Katrina said a lot of beautiful things. Your book also, you know, different questions to ask. And if you don't, then just giving yourself that space of allowance to go, actually I don't, and there's nothing wrong with it. Because that sense is also this, I think for many women, this long endured struggle about not being able to have a child when actually maybe you truly don't desire it. So that's one element.
Yeah, and you know what? I was just thinking about the many reasons why women have a child, and you know what? We are the ones that are going to carry them for 9 months. And even though like that, I've had, you know, many people that I've worked with and done, you know, sessions with me. They just plainly say, you know what? My husband really wants a child. and I need to get pregnant, and I need to have the child because my husband really wants a child. And hello, you are the one carrying it 9 months. You should have your own opinion, you know.
And with that, that was part of my story. It really was, my husband at the time who really desired a family. I think we would have conversations. We were going to have 4, And once I did get pregnant, it was almost like this short little window of me saying yes, that my son, Isaias was the name I gave him, he was, okay, I'm there. I mean, it was so instant that I was surprised and also a bit in shock. So my experience of that space of like, oh, shoot, I'm pregnant. And that's the moment I realized, actually, I don't know that I really desired it. So I had to, in the first month of being pregnant, I had to be with, wow, is this really what I wanted? It wasn't. So I was struggling with even being pregnant at that moment, which was quite challenging. And I haven't really shared that with the world, so thank you for this platform. And in that month, knowing I was pregnant and then actually hoping that I would lose it. There was that sense like I was hoping a miscarriage like I had before. And then my son, I mean, I know him now, but the energy he wasn't going to quit. He wasn't going to stop. In that moment of him being willing to be there with me, I get it. He was already an energy contributing. And then after that month, there was finally this like new level of surrendering and allowing myself to perceive him, to be more aware of him, to connect with him, that the rest of the pregnancy was this incredible joy. It was like this bond, this connection of getting to know him. I would have a blast. I mean, I didn't have Bluetooth at the time, but I'd be driving, chatting, laughing, speaking with him. I mean, there was literally this relationship. And I remember when he was born and we were in the hospital, I ended up having a C-section. And when I finally came to and he was off to the right and I called his name, because I had already named him, I was already having conversations with me, his little head turned around and looked at me. So it's been this beautiful relationship. And so the question is like, do kids pick their parents? As he has grown throughout the years, both his father and I, who are now divorced, great friends, we get it. It's like, wow, you did pretty good. Like, So this topic about pregnancy, about miscarriages, and do children choose to have their parents? It doesn't always make sense cognitively, but it's like when you ask the question, you'll know if it's true or not for you. So.
Yeah, and it's so great because this could be a book for even women that are just getting married, because it is eventually everybody gets married and want to have children. Most of them nowadays, not everybody, but most of them. And I think if even if this book is read by a person that is just getting married or just have been married for 1 year or 2 years, or is not even thinking of having children, it could open up a possibility of, a new window. It could open up like a new, I would say, oh, here, look, it's coming to visit me. This is my other baby that picked me.
Oh.
So they, it's like what you said. For you, for example, you start after you got pregnant. You're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do now? What is this? But if people would read this and would know about these ideas that we're presenting here before getting pregnant, how easy can it be for them to begin a family and get pregnant?
Yes.
In the future, or whatever it is, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years.
There's definitely, with the tools of access consciousness, a greater peace, almost, I'd say, because as you live in the question, there's more space of allowance for yourself. And for what's showing up, there's so many questions. Like, one of the ones that I love, it's what's right about this I'm not getting? Which oftentimes we go to certain things that are coming up, you're not able to have a child, and you're like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with the world? God, you go all these places that, like, if you begin to ask the question and just give it space to allow yourself to get the awareness of, wow, what's beyond this? What am I not seeing here that actually might be a gift? It's an incredible question, and it is also a space of vulnerability to go, wow, I might not have all the answers. I may not be the one totally in control of making it happen right now, tomorrow, or next week. But it's like that space of allowance, that space of peace that is there when you trust that you know, and that not like there's a, I almost catch myself sometimes when I say there's a reason for everything. It's not that. It's almost like, you know, what is it here that I'm not seeing? What's the gift here? And what other questions can I ask to create more ease?
Instead of judging ourselves, which is what we usually do.
And if you think about the energy of judgment, it's so contractive. So here, when you're trying to open up your body to receiving, it's like every place you go into judgment, it just closes you up. So, you know, with the tools and beginning to ask questions and be more in that space of allowance and not judgment, it can really relax the body, relax your being. It maybe add more to your life, you know, that you didn't perhaps anticipate.
Even prepare everything around you, you know, your house, your home, your friends, everything around to welcome, you know, that baby that is supposed to come, you know, in a few months or even in a few years. But it's a whole environment that you change with the questions and that, yeah.
And as kids grow up, you know, I get to see them in the school setting, and now with our global online school of access possibilities, is that I do get to see that we as parents can contribute so much to kids when we are in a space of allowance, of gratitude, of no judgment. And it does begin with us. When you can have that for you, you don't have to tell the kids to have it. They'll perceive it. They'll see it. They'll sense it. So it's like, as parents, whether with children now or not, what if that could just be a gift to you?
Yeah, that's
So
right.
thank you so much for this book.
Oh, you're so welcome. Well, you know, it's great because you weren't here at the beginning, but let me tell you a little bit. I wrote the book in a novel format, or fiction could be, because you know, Amazon would not accept my ideas as real life things, so I had to put it in fiction. And so I wrote it exactly for, you know, to open up the mind, and it's such an easy reading, and it's the person, like the person reading it can identify with the characters in the story, and do either similar, you know, or you know, they have their own choice of you know, opening up to new possibilities, and believing that it could be true what I'm writing, or just say, oh yeah, this is simple fiction, it's not going to happen to me. But I wish that for all those moms that are saying, oh no, this is fiction, it would still, you know, I think it would still click something. It would still open a tiny door right there of you know, a doubt of, oh, maybe, you know, maybe this can be true.
And I'll invite your readers also. I know that, you know, one of the tools that I use a lot is the tool of light and heavy. That what if, you know, we have been functioning and have been trained to function so much from our mind and our thoughts and what the intelligence that we think we have. And now this invitation of really trusting the energy that you're aware of. So as they're reading your book, I would invite them to say, what feels light? That might not make sense. That might not be logical. But it's that almost like that magic, like when it'll feel light to you if it's true.
Yeah.
And to begin to trust that. Yeah. That's one thing. I didn't grow up talking much about magic, but that sense of, wow, beginning to trust myself and being willing to be aware of what feels light and following that in the face of it not making sense, and then just seeing what gets created, that to me is magic. Yeah. And it just continues to lighten up everything I choose as a mother, as a teacher, as a facilitator. That for me, it's like, wow, what would it take to have more of that lightness and peace out in the world?
Yeah.
And your book definitely contributes that magic and peace. So
yeah, well,
how does it get any better than that?
Thank you for sharing that tool. Yeah, I use so much that tool, and And in reality, you can be reading something and you know it's true when it comes easy. I'm like, oh, this is easy. This is fun. It's not like something you have to learn and, you know, like when we're little, 5 times 3, you know, it's 15. And you're like, oh my God, well, I just have to learn because that's the way it is. You know, it's structure. Instead, while you're reading the book, you can actually, yes, use that tool. It says, oh my God, that this feels fun for me, that this feels nice and easy. And so that's what Sylvia means as light or heavy. You know, heavy would be something like, oh no, I don't want to go to this place. I don't feel like entering that room. That's the heavy part. And the light, oh yeah, how nice. Let's go into that room. So that's
and in that face of heaviness, you know, especially as, you know, people are looking to get pregnant or through miscarriages, it's like when you do feel that heaviness, it's an opportunity to ask more questions. You know, you mentioned a lot about the gift of questions. In that moment when it's heavy, it's like, what if you could go into questions like, wow, what do I require more information? What is this? And so often I think we dismiss that and go to trusting, oh, the doctor said, my mother said, or, you know, so beginning to ask more questions can give you more of a sense of what actually is true
oh my
for you.
God. Sylvia, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. And I know you have your kids. I know it's so early where you are right now.
Yes, thank you.
I so appreciate it. I so appreciate you participating and being here with us. Thank you.
And now I'll have to figure out how to get off. But yes, I see it now. Thank you. Have a great rest of the hangout. Adios.
Thank you. Susan, you want to introduce?
Sarah, I would absolutely love to. Good morning, Sarah. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
great.
Gorgeous.
Yay, I made it. Wow.
Yay.
I'm going to see if I can turn up my volume here so I can hear you.
So we were talking about you when the Google Hangout first started, and we both refer to you as a horse whisperer.
Sure.
You were just here in Florida working with horses, and you have your very own beautiful horse, Rainey.
Yeah.
And in Maria's book, Why Do You Want Me? Mommy, Why Do You Want Me? There's a horse who's a character in her book.
Mm-hmm.
And this horse actually facilitates the mom from a miscarriage into conception, pregnancy, and birth. And I know Maria and I had talked about, you know, how is that even possible? How can a horse communicate with us and be a contribution? And we knew you would definitely be able to shed some light on that with us. So would you speak to us about it, because you do so much with kids and shows and adults and horses that have been traumatized. And so tell us a little bit about you, what you do.
Let me just say one more thing just as an introduction. Sure. Before I leave the whole hour for you. You know how people, this is true, how people don't notice, but they go and go to horse shows and go to a barn, and then they just come out of it, and then they arrive after lunch or after they visit that, and they say, oh my God, I feel so good. I feel so good. And people that ride and have no idea about, you know, spiritual things or anything. They just ride horses and they work. From work they go to ride horses, but then they say, oh my God, he said, I feel so much peace when I'm with my horse. So that's the power of the horse. It has a huge power that nobody gives it the importance to it. Nobody, it's like discarding that peace comes because the horse provided that peace to them. It's not because they just rode and it's nice, like I'm going to go and jog, 5 miles right now and I feel great.
Yeah.
No, it's a different kind of peace. Go ahead,
yeah.
Sarah, take it over.
Cool. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on this. I'm really excited to read your book. Yeah, let's see. Like one aspect of horses for me that, like horses actually require you to be present. If you aren't present, then oftentimes the horse will not feel connected, not feel you there, and check out, and then might be afraid of something or spook. And so it's sort of like, in many cases, I'm supporting the horse, but actually the horse is teaching me, okay, be here now, you know. And when I'm training horses, sometimes I'm introducing them to the saddle or things where they kind of feel like, oh my gosh, is this safe? Is this okay? And to help the horse relax, I'll actually just check in with my own body and go, oh my gosh, am I holding tension? I do this and breathe, and then the horse will breathe. And it's just, that's one example. Let's see, about horses.
So let me
Yeah.
let me tell you a little bit. Is that in the book, the character was going through hard times in her life after a miscarriage, and she had the depression, the sadness, and all that.
Yeah.
And then this I'm not going to say how this horse appears.
Yeah.
And makes her see what happens, because from what I learned with the horses, which I've done also therapies with horses, and I've learned how to offer the therapy and everything. It's unbelievable how the horse can reflect what you are feeling inside, even what you're feeling that you don't know that you're feeling.
Yeah, especially that. Yeah.
Can you talk about it a little bit?
Sure. And sometimes, let's see. Well, one thing I just love, the horses are so patient and accepting of us and forgiving. They're super forgiving. So a lot of times when my horse or other horses have been working with me to help me get something, they're so patient. Like years later, I'll say to my horse, oh, I got it. And she's like, yeah, I knew you would. Let's see. You were just asking about, can you remind me?
Yeah, about how the horse's behavior reflects your.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a lot of times with clients, I'll see that some clients, their horse is creating almost a challenge for them. Like if the person is just really nice, but hasn't claimed her own being, like, hey, I will take care of your horse. I will, be a partner here. Instead, sometimes they've been like, they want to be a spectator. They just want to kind of hang back, and the horse may do things that require them to say, wait, whoa, this isn't working, and then the person, they need to just step up and be more present and be a partner, be a leader to the horse.
Kind of shift and changes for them.
Yeah, and the horses are so quick, so it's really satisfying, because if the person if I say, can you just, step into this energy and, be this with the horses change.
Yeah. I noticed, because I ride here in Florida, that when I've shown up with barriers,
yeah,
I'm resisting something in my life, and I know your character was doing that. Maria in the book, she was doing some resisting of things. So, it's not just with horses, it is with other animals also. They mirror us. So tell me a little bit about barriers, when you've shown up with barriers, and Rainey, your beautiful horse, your white horse.
Yeah.
How has she facilitated that for you?
Okay, yeah, 1,000 million times she's done this. So, and other horses too. It's like, okay, where to start? Things don't always go the way that you would like them to go with horses, right? They have their own feelings, their own points of view, their own agenda. And so it's like if I or a person goes into a situation like, I know everything, here's what we're going to do, da-da-da, and then it's not working. And even what some other trainer told you, it's not working, it's a really great place to go into question. So even way before I found the tools of access consciousness, I was asking the horses, okay, what do you need today? how can I help you? How can I? Because at that time I was just thinking that I'm here to help the horses, which is really hilarious. So I was, but asking questions like, okay, what am I not getting here? What would make this ease for you? And so going into like asking the questions, asking the horse, asking the universe, things show up, and they show up so much faster when I go into question. Sometimes you'll see someone who maybe trains and they have a really great production and they talk really big and they know everything. For me, I tend to seek out I think that some of the best trainers, and I really am excited because I'm going and meeting more of them and spending time with them. They have a sense of curiosity and question, and they're open to learning new things, like always. So.
Great.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what do you facilitate you and Rainey long distance?
Yeah, I definitely do. Like connect with her long distance?
Yeah, how do you do that facilitation with, long distance?
I guess I haven't thought of it as facilitation, but I'm sure she does contribute. And yeah. Okay, so let's see. One example is I had to, I do talk. Animals are really good at listening and talking in pictures. And the way that I perceive things a lot of times is a feeling. But like for my own horse or other horses, I'll show them a picture of what, like, I was asking my horse, hey, would you go to this horse show with me? This is what it's going to look like, and it's in this many days. And I show her the nice comfy stall, and we get to spend lots of time together, and we're going to go for walks. And then there's also this time where you get to show off. It'll be so fun. Oh, there are probably going to be kids there. So then on the day of the show, I just make this movie in my head. So on the day of the show, I can say, hey, today's the day, and I show her getting in the trailer, and it's going to be this many days. I show the sun come up, sun come down, and then you get in the trailer and you come home, and I show her coming back to the pasture. So that was like really a difference because she was like, oh, we go and we come back? Okay, I'll do it. And if I'm gone, I'll send her the picture of like how many days I'm gone and then I'm coming back, so she sees me coming back. And I have a picture of her on my phone, and I just always talk about her. But this last summer, I had a week where I was training somewhere else, and then I came back just for like 2 days, and then another week that I was gone, and I had somebody else checking in and sending me text messages and caring for her. And when I came back after the second week, she kind of wasn't there. She was like, she's like she had just like checked out, like she just thought that I died or something. And it took like a whole day. I'm like, Rainy, and she just wasn't like connecting. So that really gave me such a strong impression of the love and the connection that the horses actually feel for us, and that we do make such a contribution in their lives. Just wait, there's one more thing that I just wanted to say about that. Oh yeah, like the contributing and stuff. Well, I guess on the topic of communicating with the animals, you can just like you can send a picture of, okay, this is what this would look like, and this is what this would feel like if we did it. Like maybe you're trying to get a nice canter departure or relaxation. So you can make a little movie of it and also feel the movie, and you can show it to them. And even more powerful is you can imagine that you are the horse. And so if you're wanting to get a beautiful canter departure, imagine that you're the horse, you're going along, and then this is what it feels like. I'll do that for horses that are nervous about accepting the saddle or the rider for the first time, or any situation, and I'll show them this is what it would feel like to do this and just feel okay. It's pretty amazing what shows up.
Yeah, you give them safety.
Yeah, yeah, you can show them like, okay, what, you can even ask a question like, what would it be like for this to actually be, for you to know that you're safe with me.
Right.
And then that, yeah, you can sense that space opens up.
Can you give us an example of where Rainey has facilitated you?
Yeah, oh my gosh, okay. Here's a big one. Let's see. I'm a control freak. I found this out. Like super control freak. And also,
in this world.
I know. And so part of it was like starting horses, some like bad things, dangerous things where my body got hurt or I got scared, the horse went berserk. I experienced those things, and that actually I was like trying to get more control in some situations because I knew like the risk, right? And so my own horse, Rainey, she is, let me go into some stereotypes about breeds. She's 3/4 Arabian. She can be spooky. She can be very dramatic. She could like, I would be lunging her for like 15 minutes in the arena where we've lived for years. And we go around, and after 15 minutes, she has this humongous spook next to the mounting block that has been sitting there all the time. So, so I really, like, I had this dream, like, what would it be like to be able to ride without a bridle? Like, it was kind of new back then, and as to my awareness, it was. And I just thought, oh, I'd love to do that someday. I'll probably have to do it on a different horse, because my horse is too spooky. I can't even trust her in our arena, like the scary corner. She'll just run sideways or do a 180. So what would it be like? What would it take to be able to ride my horse without a bridle? And by asking those questions, actually, like that's when I found access consciousness and started getting my bars run, and that cleared a lot of stuff. Just made it more. Just as a person, feel more okay to be in the world. Like, I'm sure there's not very many other people who are attracted to horses who are also sensitive beings. So, getting my bars run, asking these questions, like, I got ideas and learning from other people, and I just, like, little by little, addressed the ways that I was trying to maintain control, and I actually developed I don't know, like just like trust, not blind trust, but like, here, let's take these steps, and also just like letting her be more of, instead of me like super micromanaging every single thing and every thought and every emotion that I was trying to keep her to have so I could be safe, like be more of a partner with her. And there's this lovely little out of focus video. I'm ready to make a new one if anybody wants to help me. But you can find a little video of us riding without the bridle in a big open field, and she does lots of her sweet tricks that she just likes to show off at the end. I have that on my page.
I saw it, Sarah, and I also saw when I think these pictures of your horse just being free. And I'm like, oh my God, doesn't she think that horse is just going to run away?
Yeah, I can tell you a funny story about that if you'd like. Yeah? Okay, so that's been another thing. Like, what would it be like to just be able to go for a walk with my horse and have my horse just want to be with me, right? So there's this wash. We're in the desert, so for my first obstacle of not having grass around is eliminated because there's no grass. However, I'm learning how to get past that. So we go down to this wash, and it's the soft sand where she likes to roll. And so I do unclip her, and she rolls, and then she comes back to me. And one kind of cold, rainy morning, it had stopped raining, but we went down there, and I thought she wanted to roll, but then she just didn't quite roll, so I unsnapped her, and she's just moseying around, and I was like, hey, Rainey, Rainy, don't leave me, don't leave me. And then she noticed something and got spooked and just took off. And that was the day. Yeah, yeah. She like ran up this hill, like took off, and I'm like, okay, I lost my horse, so I started pulling energy, like pulling, and I'm still just saying, Rainy, you know, my happy little voice that I do when I call her Rainy, and then I see her. She had just like galloped up this hill. She stopped on the ridge, snorting, looking at me, but also she was like saying, you didn't run with me when we got scared. Like she expected me to just be with her. That was her first time like I didn't stop her from running when she got scared, right? So the next day I was like, well, what would it be like? And I practiced some things in the arena, and then we walked around the barnyard together without the rope, and I do have lots of treats to reward. And that was the day, the following day we went to the desert, and God, it was so cool. Because she was just, I don't know if it was that experience before, she was just like, oh, I'm with you. It was really neat to have that freedom and the connection. So.
Yeah. I was thinking about while you were just explaining that and telling us the story, which is pretty amazing, Sarah.
It is.
Seriously. Like, if people don't really realize this, like, you don't normally unclip your horse in a wild situation.
Right. They usually run away, yeah.
Yes. Yes, and then never come back, or somebody else finds them. So have you found that this is kind of rolled over into your regular life, like with humans and with your business and with your, personal relationships, that you don't need to micromanage? Like, it's okay. Like, do you have a new space now that she gave you with that?
Wow, that's cool. I do. You're right, I do. Thanks. I do. Like, it feels like a little bit more, but when I reflect on, okay, like, what kind of space was I in a year and a half ago? This is super huge. Super, super huge. Yeah, that's really, thank you, that's a really great thing. Like, the willingness to, like, trust and, like, let go, and also pull in to be the magnetic creator magic, just and also just asking questions, like what, just really asking more questions. Like, really recently I just got this profound question, which is, oh, what would it be like to have ease? Like, what is ease? So,
and it's so simple, and we would get the awareness of it. That's the greatness of it.
yeah. So it just feels brand new to me.
Cool.
Cool.
Thank you, Sarah, so much for joining us. Sarah Litch, how do we find you?
Oh, let's see. I have a website. Can I share one more story about a horse before I go? Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. I'll show. My website is Evolve in Light. EVOLVEINLIGHT.com. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and I travel around. Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
I was muted.
Okay, I really wanted to share, because when I had no idea what this call was going to be like or about, really, and I was thinking of this little boy, and it is pretty interesting how he found me. So this little boy came for a riding time with me, with Rainey, and he's considered like special needs. His mom is so cool that she has never actually told me whatever the doctors labeled him as, but he doesn't speak. He's super affectionate. He conveys a lot of charm and a lot of emotions, but he's you can't see exactly where he's focusing with his eyes, and he doesn't speak.
Yeah, nonverbal.
Pardon?
Nonverbal.
Yes, nonverbal. And so he, when we put him up on the saddle with Rainey, he looked like, I don't like to do this. So then I got this idea in my head. I was like, oh, well, would you like to sit in? I'll have him sit in front of me, and I'll ride Rainey. So we put on the bareback pad, and this little boy in front, and I can ride with one hand, so I'm holding him with the other. And we're walking around because I want to be really careful, right? I don't want him to be scared. But I'm talking with him and I said, hey, so what would it be like if you could control this horse with your mind? And we're walking around, and Rainey, this is the first time she ever did this. She starts doing the Spanish walk. Do you know what that is? Where the horses go boom, boom, with their front legs, like that. She just starts doing Spanish walk. Like I can't even, I'm like, oh, Rainey, not now, not now. No, we have to be quiet. And she's like, no, we're doing this. We're doing Spanish walk, and then I'm like, he's cracking up. I'm like, did you do that? Did you tell my horse to do something more interesting? And then I was like, okay, well, let's trot. And he's giggling and laughing, and then we did canter. We're cantering around. It was so great. I'm just holding on to this little guy, and he's just like laughing and tossing his head, and my horse really, she just really seemed to enjoy it. And how does it get better than this? People afterwards that just happened to be at the barn, they came up to us. They were like, that was so beautiful. There was something about that. It was just so great. And it's like it had an effect over the whole area. So.
Wow, that's well, I believe it, but you could say that's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, great. Oh, great. That was a great story. I loved it.
Thanks. Cool. Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us here.
Cool.
Look forward to talking with you again.
I'd love to see you again. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'm looking forward to reading your book.
Yeah. So we have Sadie Lake. She has many books out too. Hi, Sadie.
Hi, Susan. How are you?
Good.
And Sadie, where in the world are you right now that you told me that you don't know if you were going to be able to get in the internet?
Well, I'm in Kauai with my family on vacation, so I don't know if it's like at the condo, if it's just where they have blue boosters, but I know sometimes it's not the greatest quality of internet, so it seems to be fine right now.
Yeah, you look great, and we can hear you fine.
It's very early here, and I also have a little bit of a cold, so I'm feeling a little stuffy and red eyes, but...
Oh, I so appreciate you being here. I've been sneezing too. I don't know what it is, but it's in the air.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were talking about my book, and I remember when I read the chapter, your chapter in the book, and it's so funny because we're thinking also about how powerful the mind is. And that we create our own reality, like our thoughts create our reality. Yeah. And it's so true. When you wrote, the beginning of it, it was so true when you said, when we are, early fertile young women, what is the first thing that people tell us? Don't get pregnant. Don't get pregnant. Don't get pregnant. So yeah. A whole life after puberty, or after being able to being earned, or how do you call it, a fertile woman, you are bombarded of you should not get pregnant, and suddenly is that idea that's in your mind, and then you get married, or you don't get married, you want to have a baby, and then it's so hard for you to have a baby. Well, with that idea in your mind for so many years, how can it be so easy? So it's a truth. Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's just what I was saying in the chapter that you're talking about, the creation book, right?
Yeah.
What I was saying in there was just, we have this idea of we start enjoying our bodies, we start coming into the sexualness that is really, it's really a gift that our bodies actually have, and whether we're actually choosing to act on our impulses or not, when we do finally start having sex, it's like, don't get pregnant, please don't get pregnant, don't get pregnant. We start programming our bodies with that, especially if the first time we have sex isn't going to be for procreation, right? Usually it's for enjoyment for most people. And so it's like we're just literally programming our bodies for years with please don't get pregnant vibes. And then suddenly we get married and make that switch where we decide that, yes, I actually do want to have a baby. And all those years of impelling that don't get pregnant energy at our body that shut down the fertility message that we're giving our body, it sometimes doesn't switch in an instant for a lot of people. So what I was basically trying to say with that in the chapter was just being aware that our thoughts do program our bodies. And if your thoughts are, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat, then you tend to have a harder time not making your body become more fat, right? Or whatever it may be. And so a lot of people don't realize that whatever you're resisting is creating, in some ways, what you don't want to have show up. So it can also go the other direction, where what you're projecting at your body is creating what you're projecting at your body. And so, yeah, it was just an invitation for people to be mindful that when you're having that energy all the time, it can actually be creating that for you. So one of the things that people can get, one of the ways you can get around that is just to be in awareness with your body instead. So, okay, body, if we have sex right now, will we get pregnant? And if it gives you the awareness that that is a possibility, you're like, okay, maybe I'll choose something different, instead of, oh, please don't, please don't, please don't, and just putting the blinders on and hoping for the best, whatever that best may be. Is that kind of what you were looking for?
Yeah. I just want to give more possibilities to people that would eventually be listening to this hangout. That it's not only their fault. It's just society. What society tells us. What we shouldn't do this. We shouldn't do that. And it's also judgment. Sylvia was here, and Petrina was here, and we are so much like programmed by our parents and by society of how we should be, and that we end up, and suddenly you want to change something, but you got to ask your body. Your body is also, it's like a different entity. It has its own.
Not only is your body a different entity, but the being coming to be with you may be a lot different than you've decided that they're going to be. Because not all beings coming to be with you are going to be these cherub, angelic, happy-go-lucky little things. They come in with a lot of their own points of view, and so that's one of the other things that many of us address in the Creations book, is just that, what if these beings coming to be here already are themselves? They're already fully powerful formed beings. They're not just these, getting created out of nothing in our image exactly how we'd like them to show up. So what if part of actually getting clear on what's going to create pregnancy to occur for you is, one, getting clear with the messages that you, the being, are sending to your body, because your body does have consciousness, but also being aware that the being that you're trying to bring through may have some points of view too. And that's also what the majority of my chapter is about, is just recognizing that the being coming to be with you in this life has its own set of points of view. And so what if not only you were willing to be in awareness with your body, but also start to become aware of the being? What does it require? What does it desire? What can you be aware of about that being that will make, fertility easier, pregnancy easier, birth easier, raising the child easier? Because when we're functioning from these utopian ideals of what we think it's going to be like, and that, oh, it's so great, and we've seen enough movies that we're totally blinded by utopian ideals and wanting it to be a certain way, we're not being pragmatic about what's actually required here. What does this being require? What do I require? What can I change that would actually facilitate something different happening? Because we just kind of go blindly through this reality's version of, it's either your hormones that are the problem, or whatever it is that the medical industry kind of says this is the problem, and then we don't end up really getting anywhere, and then people end up doing in vitro or whatever, which it's phenomenal that that's available. But what if people could actually create the possibilities of what they desire showing up by kind of peeling off those layers of all the blindness that they've put on to keep themselves from knowing what they know and knowing what's required.
Yeah, right. At the beginning, I talked because I love to bring that weirdness into logical, and I really enjoy doing that. And then I just turn people around that are very logic. They're like, wait a minute, it's logical what you're telling me, but what? So I was explaining it more like, everybody talks about angels, and you have a problem, and you look in the cards, who is the angel that has to do with selling a house? Who is the angel that has to do with money? Who is the angel that has to do with health? And we put angels as humongous, powerful beings. And then suddenly, when you want to have a baby, you say, oh, I want to have a little angel, my baby. And we think of it like such a tiny little thing that has no power, that is so fragile. And then I like to come and say, wait a minute, yes, you'll have a little angel, but that angel over there was a humongous, powerful angel.
Well, and still is when it comes to be in that little body.
Yes,
and
that's
it's another
right.
thing, like, when things show up that are challenging for you with a parent of a small being in a small body with a huge being in it, what if it's not just they need their diaper changed or they have a bellyache? What if it's like there's so much that they're frustrated about because they're this huge being that has had all these capacities and now they're in this small body that doesn't have any coordination yet? What if what we see showing up with them that we think is, oh, they have a tummy ache, or oh, I ate too much dairy today. So many parents are so concerned about every little wrongness that they've committed, and that's why this difficulty is showing up with their child. And what if it's a really big being and they're stuck now in this body where they don't have the freedom to just go and be and create and magic to happen? They're having to learn how to navigate creating in this world from the space of a human body. And what if they're just frustrated as hell? What if they're mad? What if they're like, oh, great, I thought I wanted this, and now that I'm here, this sucks? What if there's and it's not to say that it's any one of those things. The point is, what if there's so much more going on from preconception, conception, pregnancy, birth, all of that, even once the baby is here? What if there's we're seeing like 1/10 of 1,000th of 1% of what's true, right? And so what also acknowledge in the creations book is just, what if it's not what it appears to be? What if every conclusion you have about what's showing up could be onto something, and you could be like in left field because you're not looking at maybe all of these other possibilities, this big picture of what's really showing up. That's what's cute about, like, I thought with your book is just, I can't remember the heroine's name. Betty, was it?
Yeah.
Betty, and it's like she's sad, she's lost this baby, and she just doesn't really realize that there's all this other stuff going on that she's not aware of, and she's in her misery and her own sadness. And when I spoke with the clairvoyant after I'd lost my couple of babies and miscarriages, it was so helpful because it was like, oh, there's all these other things going on, and you're just focused on your life. I had planned it this way. I thought if baby was born in July, it'd be a Cancer, and it'd be perfect, and have this personality, it'd go just right with me, and all these other crazy things that we do, right? And what if there's so much else going on that we can't control all those details? What if that, she really wanted to be a Taurus, apparently, like what if there's all these other things that you don't get to control?
Yeah, it's true. She does this all the time, my daughter. She does something, and I say, oh, come on, Alexandra, you know better. And she looks at me with that little face saying, Mom, when she was 5, she began this, Mom, I'm only 5 years old now. Mom, I'm only 9 years old. And I look at her and I said, oh, Alexandra, you want to manipulate me, and you know you can't. But you're not going to come and tell me that you're only 9 years old. You're like 300 million years old. Oh, you see her laughing and like laugh, that laugh where, yeah, that's true. You're right. You caught me.
Uh-huh. Goja's here. She wouldn't know anything about that. You get that all the time with your voice, don't you?
So, and she's only right now only 10. She was only 5 when she began to do that. So they are really humongous beings, and that powerful angel that we all talk about in a small body. But they know it. They know they're sharper than us because we have all those blocks that we created during all our lives. And they don't have any blocks. They just have the little ones that you have given them for a few years.
Yeah. Well, I just was aware when you were saying that, too, I was kind of shown this energy of, like, when they come in, they're more connected with their being, so they still have access to the being and the magic and the knowing that's beyond the body, but they're handicapped by the inadequacies of the physical body at that young age. But then as we grow older, we actually exchange our awareness of the beyond for capacity with the body. So we learn how to walk, and we learn how to talk, and we learn how to do with our bodies. but it's almost like as we do that, we start to shed away the memory and the knowing that we had when we came in. So it's like we're doing this inverse thing where we came in knowing what we were and having all that magic, but we couldn't do anything with the body, and it's like they exchange. As we get older, we kind of step away from that. What if we didn't have to do that?
Yeah, what if we didn't have to do that? That's right. My goodness, I think that's the greatest way to live. What if we could be much more than what we think we are, and create all that?
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool.
And the other thing, when you were talking, that came to my mind when you were talking about the parents sometimes not being ready. So many things can happen that why the baby doesn't come, and and I remember in one of the access classes, I remember with Dane here, one of the girls saying that she wanted a baby, and she wasn't able to become pregnant, and this and that, and then just in the middle of everything and all the trying to clear all that energy, we in the class were able to get out of her this sentence that was actually I was amazed, and to me it was terrible, although I'm judging, I shouldn't be judging, but it was an awareness. She was like, okay, to fill the void that I have, I did get a dog, but it didn't work, so I do want a baby. Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh my God. You see where I'm going? It's like, people are trying to fill a void, and it's not really, is that what you want to have a baby, to fill a void? So
yeah, or it's like, yeah, anywhere you want to, anywhere we're not being in total awareness about the creation of family in general. We do this, most of us create family based on this reality's points of view, that's what's required, that's what I need to have, my life's going to be empty without it. There's all this other stuff that mars this, what could be a really beautiful experience and a beautiful creation here. And what if we didn't have to be kind of in this knee-jerk default mode? What if we could actually create based on what's possible with this person in the world that isn't without them? What if we chose to create family based on the possibilities of what could show up, not based on like, I have to do this because my mom really wants a grandchild. All these interesting things that we program ourselves with. And what if none of that matters? What if the only thing that matters, especially at this point, I mean, we're all pretty aware that things are changing really fast and that we're going to have to start doing something different on this planet. So what if we actually started looking at our fertility and the creation of future when it involves bringing another being into a body on this planet? What if it was more about what possibilities are available with this being in a body here that weren't before? And is that a contribution to the planet and everyone on it? And if it's not, what if we were willing to make the choice for that which would create greater for everyone, not like, I have to have this baby because, whatever our reasons and justifications are.
Beautiful, beautiful. Nicely put, nicely said. Thank you so much. I know it's early, and I know you're like in the middle of your vacation. I don't want to take any more of your time, Sadie. Thank you so much for being with us. Thanks
for inviting me. Have fun. Good luck. I bought my book already, so it's on its way. It should be there by the time I get home.
Oh, cool. Thank you. That's great.
Yeah. You guys have fun.
Have fun. Happy vacation.
Yeah.
Hi, and we have Gosha now.
Hello.
Hi, Gosha. Susan, you call her Angel Whisper? Is that what it was? So cute.
I do. She's a Talk to the Entities facilitator, and she has the direct connect to the other side.
So that angel, beautiful angel that's coming, she can talk to the angel, to that little baby.
Yeah, so tell us about your kids, Gosha. What did you know about them speaking to you and your husband and your body before they got here?
Yeah, it was before actually me knowing as much as I do now about, beings without bodies. So I kind of communicated with them through pendulum, and this was the only tool I had at the time, and it was wonderful because I could perceive those beings in my body, and I also was having sometimes difficult time with all these awarenesses because I didn't have the tools, what to do with it, what am I getting, what do I know, what is all this energies around me. So I experienced some, severe depression during my pregnancies, and I wish I knew what I know now, because now I would know. It's just, another beings around me, and I suppressed my awareness of entities, of beings without bodies, for a very long time, my whole life, until I started learning about it. Oh, this is when I get so stressed and upset, it's my awareness of those guys. And when I'm getting nervous, or when I'm getting kind of overwhelmed or angry, even sometimes, it's just awareness of other beings around me. Now it's like, oh, there's many people around me here, even though I'm alone in this room. So it's very easy to navigate through this invisible world, and I'm so grateful for those tools. They are saving my sanity every day, and I know how much they're contributing to other lives. So now seeing my boys, and one is 8, one is 10, as this beautiful, amazing, huge beings in these tiny bodies, which I remind them every day. Even this morning, it's like, hello, my little, bodies, great beings in little bodies, and they giggle always. They know it too. So like Maria, like you said, they cannot manipulate me anymore. Oh, I'm just little one and I don't know. It's like, hey, what do you know about that? Well, you must know something about this. And they do step into the knowing. So it's amazing how different the childhood of those children will be compared to our childhoods without those tools, and knowing that the invisible doesn't mean it's not real or not existent, like for so many people. When they don't believe me, well, I don't try to convince anyone anymore, first of all, but I say, hey, do you see electricity? No, but it can kill you, so don't tell me that, that something is invisible, it doesn't exist. And encourage everyone to kind of expand their awareness to beyond what we think is real, that body and the physical, and really step into the amazing, expansive possibilities with the invisible world, with all the beautiful beings of light that you call angels. I call them beings of light because I perceived many different forms. And the many different energies to contribute to us. They actually are there waiting for us to ask them for contribution, and they will. It's absolutely incredible to receive an energetic contribution from those beings, something that's always available to us, yet we never ask, or we ask in desperate times, or we ask when things go really difficult for us. But we don't ask just like, hey guys, how can I contribute to you today, and would you like to contribute to me today? Like, have this beautiful flow of gifting and receiving simultaneously throughout the day, throughout the night, all the time, not only reserved for these emergencies in our life. So I invite everyone to really consider inviting those beings into their lives.
Yeah, you know what? While you were talking about, you were talking to your children before they were born. I completely forgot about this episode, and it's so cute. I within my little knowledge at the time, which now I see how big it was. It's funny. I said, I know she can hear me, and I did ask her, what did she want it to be called? So I said, oh my God. So okay, I said, you know what? I'm gonna pick 7, and you're gonna tell me which of these seven names you wanna have. And I would tell every name and nothing. My tummy would be just completely neutral, no movement. And I would say another name and then moved a little bit. And I'm like, oh, gee, so what is yes for the baby and what is no for the baby? How am I going to know what's yes and what's no? Then I told her, okay, if you don't do anything, if you do something, it's yes. If you don't do anything, then it's a no. So I kept on telling the rest of the names, and when it came to Alexandra, oh my God, she was like, the feet, the legs, everywhere. My tummy was moving in all kinds of ways. And then I would say, Carolina, flat, nothing. And then I would say another name, nothing. And I'd just say, okay, let me say again, Alexandra. She would move and move and move like crazy, kicking and punching and everything. And like, I couldn't believe it myself. So I did it, I think, like 10 times. Until I finally said, you know what, I guess it's Alexandra. 10 times telling me that she wants that name. It must be that name. So when she says, oh, Mom, I don't know, why did you pick Alexandra? I said, well, I didn't pick it, you did. So don't come and complain to me.
I love what Sadie said about this inversion of when babies and children are so aware and they see, oh my goodness, sorry, my cuckoo clock is gonna.
Hey, it's beautiful, don't worry.
So when they really are so aware as little babies, and I remember my boys like looking around and smiling or being scared of something in a corner that was invisible. And then when I ask them now, like, do you see anything? They say no, but they do perceive. When I said, but do you perceive something? Is there something in the room? Do you perceive this energy? They say yes. So I love what Sadie said, that it's true. At first we were this beautiful energetic beings, and we are one with everything that is invisible to the grown-up eyes, to most grown-up eyes. And then we kind of forget the past lifetimes, because so many children actually still remembers scenes or images or events from another lifetimes, and then it kind of subsides and disappears, and we start being so present with this reality, and this invisible, beautiful, magical world stop existing, unless we have access kits, of course, and they are being encouraged to believe in magic and be the magic and step into the magic. So it's kind of incredible how it all is, and what would it take for this to change, that we never lost this magical capacities and abilities, and what would it take for this reality to encourage that regardless of the age. You know, it's not like 5 years until 5 you can fantasize and you can have invisible friends and talk to your dolls and talk to someone in the room, and then it's not appropriate anymore. So what reality can we create that it would be absolutely normal to co-create with those invisible beings, and not being perceived as crazy or being locked up in institutions because we do communicate with somebody who is not quite there with the body. So I'm just like, this really inspired me, Sadie. Thank you for really pointing it out so clearly. I love it.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of it until Maria was talking, and then it was like I saw the switch. Yeah, I actually have my littlest one, my 3-year-old. She's done this thing for a while where it's like she'll wake up in the night crying and saying, I want mommy or I want daddy. Depending on which of us isn't the one that's there with her, she'll want the other one. And so it was interesting that she had done that, but like a month ago this was happening and we were both around, and my husband was in our living room with her, and she was kind of backing herself into a corner screaming at us, and this has been going on for some time, and this is interesting since she's like the super easy baby most of the time. And I walked into the room because she was saying, I want mommy, and I was like, I'm right here, and she looked at me and like screamed right at me like she did not want anything to do with me. And it occurred to me that she didn't want me mommy, she wanted another mommy. And so finally, like, I just got like sort of the download of it, and I just said to her, are you remembering a different mommy? And she's like, ooh. And then she finally came to me. And so it was like, wow, this whole time I thought it was about like the partner who wasn't in the room. And really it's like whichever partner is there, she's feeling like, I want my real mommy, or I want my real daddy. So, and, you know, it's like it never shows up how you think it's going to. You always think, you know, when you're aware, you think, oh, my kid, of course, will have these memories of other things, or they'll show up with all this stuff. And that hadn't really happened until this point. And I was like, oh, she's remembering a different family from a different body. And I asked her, are you remembering a different mommy? So, and it's happened a couple times since then, and she comes around a lot faster now, but I've been like, wow, that's so interesting. And what if we could just validate it and not apologize for it, and that can be it, and we don't have to be like, oh, wow, I'm so important because my kid remembers, you know what I mean? It's like, it just is what it is. And what if we could help them never have to like thicken those veils by just acknowledging it and letting them have it and letting them have access to it if they require that, and then by not ever telling them it's not so or dumbing it down, they can just have access to that and they don't ever have to separate from what they know.
Yeah.
Just an aside.
No, it's true. It's true. I was trying to. Now it came out of just run away from my head. I had an idea. I mean, an idea. Something that happened with Alexandra too, and I'll remember it. So let's see. Let's see what other things. Susan, do you want to come in a little bit?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So, yeah, Sadie, just what you were saying with your daughter, it's, yeah, pretty magical how you can just give her the space to like be her and not, judge what's taking place, what's happening. And I know like there's this common thread through all of the guests today, Maria, and it really has been asking questions. I know Sarah asked questions, with her horses, and we all ask questions, with Gosha, with, the beings without bodies at this time, and all of us who've had kids, with miscarriages, without miscarriages, and fertility in our bodies and whatnot. The common thread has been to really ask questions, and I know that there's. I don't know, you can all nod your heads if this is like true for you, but it's like we grew up with our parents and like we are like, so much more conscious or aware or willing to look at different possibilities than our parents were, and how much more are our kids even compared to where we are now, and how like amazing that is with them. And Maria, I just have to say that your book here does a lot of that. It totally gives us this family dynamics in Mommy, Why Did You Want Me? And gives it an easy way for people to understand, to kind of relate, to use as a tool, and it really generates a lot of possibilities for people who may know someone or is trying to get pregnant, at this time, and just doesn't have the tools or doesn't have the information and is looking for a different possibility. So I'm very grateful that you have put this book to print and made it available for all of us here in the world to take advantage of that. And I know it's a perfect gift for someone because like Gosha was saying, it's, we're looked at as being crazy or woo-woo or, you know what I mean? Like, oh no, you can't listen to that, she's weird. But your book really brings it, here in such a, kind way that it will take people from wherever they are and whatever they believe in, because there's no right or wrong, with that, and then allows them to ask questions with themselves. With their own body, with their own babies, and I'm very grateful for that. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Well, that was the whole point of the book. It was to open up a little window for anybody, to show them the other possibilities that we could have. And it's not only what the doctors told us. Like each one of us that we invited, and great, the energy knows what she's doing. All of us had some kind of problem or obstacle or something with that, and we just took another road, and it worked for us. And so just giving an opportunity to all of the people that would be seeing this video that to go another route. If you go the same way, how do you expect for something different to happen? Einstein said that, but it doesn't matter if it's Einstein or anybody, it's the truth. If try something different, try something that it would probably make you feel good. If it doesn't make you feel good, then of course, you should not try it, because that would be not true for yourself. But if you give it a try and you go softly into this different world and different opportunities and possibilities, I am sure that it would help so much in your life and in everybody's life that's listening to this video. So I thank all of you for being here with me, and we even went over the time, and I'm so happy that we did. And thank you for each one of you, you know, for what you guys said. Each one of you was absolutely great. I love it. Thank you, Susan, for being there. And I hope to see you guys soon.
Thank you, Maria. Bye.
Thank you.
Love to meet you.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.